Howdy y'all, and welcome to episode 24 of my Let's Play, and I am Ragaras. We're over in the farm area. I wanted to show you some updates. We've got this little nifty crop right here. Looks kind of like wheat, but you notice this is wheat. Right here, this one is wheat, and you see this one is slightly different. Just a little different color. That's hops. This is hops. And I think you know it's done. You can see the top there is black, so I don't think that's done yet. So we're going to right click these. No, the brown's not done yet. See, I'm clicking it, nothing's happening. So the black means it's done. Okay. So that gives us hops. Stupid coin. And it looks like this little thing right here. So we need those to make beer. Is it 8 and 8? I think it's 8 and 8. So we're going to make some beer here. Alright. So what I've got is, to make beer, some other plants we've got. This is the, I already went over this. This is the Aurelia, I believe. This one gives off gold nuggets. I'm still trying to get the one that gives iron. I'm hoping that's what this one will be right here. Stickweed, terrawort, and then of course that one's hops. And I'm still trying to get red wheat. Hopefully that's red wheat right there. Red wheat needs a really low light level to breed. I haven't had any luck getting that one yet. And according to what I read online, you have a better chance with breeding terrawort or netherwort. So we'll see. Like I said, as of yet, can't get off my feet. Haven't had any luck with that just yet. But I want to make some beer because it's kind of like a potion. But it also could have some negative effects. But you can take terrawort and it'll give you keep the good effects but get rid of the bad effects. So terrawort's kind of cool like that. Excuse me while I move around and get comfortable here. All right, to make the beer, we need to make a brewing barrel. And to make that, we need a scaffold. And where do we want to put this? We'll just set it right here, here, here. Maybe not here. Why can't I put a? Okay, that's weird. Here, okay. Put down a scaffold. And we're going to make a empty booze barrel. Now to make the booze barrel, you do need a rubber wood. Luckily I had a few extra from my rubber farm over there, so I could have the rubber wood logs. Even though with the new forestry farm I'm not logging them like the other one did. It just pulls the tap off, but I had some exposed that didn't have any sap points on them, so I could just go cut one off. So now we're going to take our brew barrel and click the scaffolding, and that gives us our brew barrel. Now you have to add your ingredients. So we're going to put in a water cell, well 16 of them, and then we're going to put in 8 wheat and then 8 hops. Now it's going to sit in there and brew. We're going to let that brew like a real life day. About 24 real hours before we tap that. Now when it's done brewing, the longer it brews, the stronger it gets. So we're going to let it sit in there and brew for, like I said, quite a bit before we tap this and really see what we're getting. But when you're done, you just take a tree tap, like you would for the rubber trees, and you click on this, and that will stop the brewing process, and then you can get your beer out. You'll have to make a stone mug. So in another episode or two, because like I said, it's going to be 24 real hours of for the game before we're going to tap that, because we wanted to get it to its maximum potency. So it's got to sit for quite a bit. There's been some questions on this thing right here. Again, I want to stress that this is not like the bees. This is not like the bees. There is no set recipe to say you put a reed and a piece of wheat, and you're going to get plant. It's not plant A, plant B is going to give you plant C. That is not the way this works. This is more put plant A, plant B, and you have a chance of getting, plant C or D or E or F or G, or it could be anything. Now you do have higher chances of getting some plants than the others. Now what I have found is once you get a mutated plant, one of the IC2 plants, like any of these. I hear y'all. Where you at? Trying to sneak up on me. Once you get one of these new plants, you get a better chance of getting another of the new plants if you put two of these plants together and crossbreed them. So that is, and I kind of go over this a bit in previous episodes. So you may go back and take a look a few episodes back when I started this farm, where I kind of cover this a little bit more in depth. All right. Another thing that I wanted to show today. Now I know I was saying I wanted to maybe dig a mine or move my mining area in the new area to a new chunk location. I still plan to do that, but something I wanted to go over today was to show some changes to the nuclear reactor. You'll see these two little guys in there and some fabricators. What I did figure out over the weekend was how to use the single-use coolant, the LZH, in a single reactor to get a much higher EU production than before. Now these top two you'll see are if you remember, we had them all set up to each of these was doing 100 a tick. Now we have 100, 100, and that bottom one there is doing 460 EU a tick. And if I really wanted to go crazy with it, I could go a lot higher. It does require lapis to be refueled on these to keep them working, because you'll notice they get damaged and these do not cool them off. So when it's just sitting here like this, it's no big deal, but when you first turn on your system, if you have an empty MFSU, it will go through a couple of those to fill them up. So this system is set up to be pulled out, fixed in these fabricators, and then replaced back into the reactor by the other golem. There is another way you can do it with Buildcraft, but it's not as fast, and the more you could actually do a lot more power from this. And what we'll do is we'll go over my creative world here in just a minute and go over how this all works so you can see it a little bit better. You'll see these little items right up here, the overclocked heat vents and the component heat vent. The reason for those in this is when these are pulled out. Not often, but it does happen. Every once in a while, several of these will wear out at the same time. And, well, we'll go over that in the, but that just, if there's some heat gets out past these when these are being replaced, this will pull the heat off of the reactor hull and bring it back down to zero pretty quickly. Because with this setup, you're not going to get a huge buildup of heat unless something really, really bad happens. I do have it set up, and I'll show this also in the test world. Now I've got some bees running over there right now, the lapis bees, and they're all hooked up with proven frames. So they're feeding me quite a bit of a lapis. I was down to about, I only got about 6,000, so it's really cranking them out. And then I have this chest set up to feed those fabricators over there with lapis. This has a export bus underneath it, so the system is just making sure this is, as soon as one empties out, it's putting another one in there, so it's keeping that chest nice and full of lapis for me. And then underneath, all the fabricators over here are chest. So each one of those are fueled as it goes through the process. So when we come back, I'm going to just break quickly enough so I can go over and flip over to the creative world, and we'll go over how this works, and then of course we'll also go over the Buildcraft option, and we'll also do some different settings. I've got it set to 460 right now, but you could actually go up a lot higher than that, and that's with a 0-chamber reactor. Each of those are 0-chamber reactors. So let me switch over to that, and we will be right back. Alright, here we are in my test world. This is where I came up with all this stuff. You can see this is where I kind of mess around with. There's actually quite a bit more stuff over in that direction, but this is kind of where I put all the nuclear stuff. I wanted to get away from all my other stuff, just in case I had an explosion here. I didn't want it to wreck everything, so we're quite a distance away from other items. But this is where I started doing all the testing for nuclear. Now, originally I wanted to use the routers just because they are so fast. The problem I had with the reactors is, the routers and the reactors, is the router with the machine upgrade doesn't see the reactor. It doesn't see this. So it never really worked right. It would pull and I could bring it around, but because of the way routers work, it just never could. I could never really get it to work the way I wanted to, where it would pull, go through the fabricators, and then put it back into the chamber. So it just never really worked out. So I worked on different solutions, and red power was my next option, and I used a filter, so it would only pull out the LZHs, which are these things, the condensators, and the problem with that is when this is on, it emits a redstone signal, and since the filter has to be right up against it, it overrides the timer that's next to the filter. So it doesn't work until this thing is shut off. So that defeats the purpose of being able to pull it out while it's running and then replace it real quick. So red power was definitely out. So the only two other options really with moving items around are Thaumcraft, which is these little fellas right here, and those are stone golems. And these are just normal stone golems. The ones that are in my regular world are just normal stone golems. And then, of course, Buildcraft pipes. Either one of these will work. Either one of these two do work. The downside to the Buildcraft pipe is it's a little slower than the golems. The golems move quicker than this pipe does. So this pipe is set up, and the way that I do this is I drain one of these all the way down to 0, and then you need about 2 at 0. You need 2 LZHs. So when you do this, and if you use this pattern, you're going to need 10 of these, the condensators, and then of course 5 quad core uranium cells. That will get you the 460 in this particular pattern. There are some different patterns, and we'll go over those that will get you more, but I'll go over my reasoning on why I went with this 460. So what you'll need, if you use the golems, you'll need one empty one to place in him, because it's not a ghost item. This is not a ghost item. You see, that's real. He'll need that so he knows what to pull out of this chamber. And you'll also have to mark him underneath this one. You'll see there's a marker. That's a white marker. And underneath this one is an orange marker. Those you will need to tell them where to go. When you place him down, you're going to place him on the reactor here, and you're going to tell him white, and you're going to put that LZH in there, so he'll know only to pull out the empty ones from the reactor. So he'll go in here and he won't mess with these until if you look over to the right hand side where it says 8112, he won't pull it out until that says 9999. So if you look on this one, it's 9999. this and the emerald pipes look at that metadata. Apparently, that was another problem with redstone. Redstone, even if I pulled an empty one in there, it started pulling all of them out. So apparently, it's not looking at that that data on the end. You'll also need a full one to put in here. So you'll need about 13 of these LZHs, the condensators, when you put this system together. 2 you'll want to empty all the way out, and I'll show you how to do that. But so 10 will go in here, then you'll use 1 empty one in him, and the 3rd empty one you'll use to set up the system here. You'll have to, these are ghost items, so you'll put the first one in there, your lapis, and that will give you your first repair, and then go ahead and repair it, and then use that one here to set up your second repair, and then of course use that one to set up your 3rd repair, and then you'll have a full one, which I guess you could probably use in him, but I made 13 when I did this in the real game, in my survival world. So right now what will happen, this little button right here is just to kind of kickstart it. We have the MFSU right here, and it is set up to admit if partially full. So right now it's not emitting it. So once we start it up, it'll send a little bit of power over here, and now it's emitting, so it'll just fire on its own now. So this is going, and if we look at the EU a tick, we should see 460. Okay, 460. And if we look at our heat on the hull, it's at 0. Now, like I said, occasionally when they pull these out, the benefit to this is there are 2 condensators per uranium cell. So even if this one is pulled out, this one is still cooling, because you're getting double cooling kind of per cell. Now, the way this is set up, the one in the middle here is going to burn out quicker than the ones down here on the end, because it's also getting heat from both sides. So the ones on the end are not going to burn out as quickly. As you go in deeper, they're going to be hotter, so these are going to burn out quicker. So you're going to see these go out faster than these, and these will go out faster than these. All right. Now, some of the different configurations you can do to bump up the well, first of all, the reason that I went with 460 and I went with this pattern is, one is the double cooling, so it's less likely that you're going to have heat issues. Now, if you do have heat issues with this, these 2 overclock vents and the component heat vent will cool this off pretty quickly. The heat will not shoot up real high very, very fast. Now, if we take our reactor here, and let's get some LZHs here. We'll just fill this up. Now, another pattern you can do, and this one will get you about 520, I believe, is to do this right here. And this kind of also gives you a double cooling. And we want to do the same thing at the top up here. We want to give our heat vents. So let's get some overclocked. I'll steal them out of this one over here. And put some couple of those in here. And then your uranium. I don't know if y'all can hear my stomach growling. Wow. I am hungry all of a sudden. Now, this particular setup is going to give you about 520. It is going to go through these a little bit quicker because there's less cooling. And again, another reason that I went with the 460 is this puts you over the 512 packet size, because this is 520. So if I were to put this in here, it would blow this wire and it would blow up this MFSU. Let's see if we got any going close. Some are real close here. You should see these little guys move in just a minute. So you would have to set a high voltage transformer. See, there it goes, and he puts it right back in there, and we're still at 0. So it was very quick. Now, that's a lot slower with the Buildcraft. See how fast that little transaction just occurred. Now, if you do that over here, it has to be piped out, so it's real slow. Once it gets in here, of course, it just goes, and then it comes out here, and then it's got to travel that real slow path. That's why I went with the, okay, just did another one. So you can see how fast this is compared to that over there. I'm not even going to run it, but you can imagine how slow it is because it has to. It's not bad once it gets into the gold pipes, but the problem is pulling it out. It's real slow, and it'll work if you leave it in this configuration right here. But if you do one of these other two that I'm about to show you, or this one or the other one I'm about to show you, it does not work for those. And in fact, I wouldn't even suggest the next one I'm going to show you and this one because it's dangerous. But this one will work, and it also has some double cooling, but because it doesn't have as much double cooling, like these are doing double duty right here. It's not just working off of this cell, and these aren't just working off of this cell. You know, it's this one is. So these are going to burn out quicker. You know, you have less condensators in there, so you have less cooling. So these are going to burn out a lot quicker. So you're going to go through more redstone, or I'm sorry, lapis with these. Of course, this would also work with the RZHs, I think they're called, the redstone version of this, which is a little bit lower version. I don't know, what's it called? Is it on here? I don't remember what it's called. Condensator. Okay, I don't remember what it is, but it's the redstone version of this. I think they're. Oh, darn it! Hold on. Can't type today. There you go. RSH, which is the redstone version of the LZH. Now, if you're going to make a bunch of these, I would really suggest either setting up a fabricator system, which is what I did to quickly produce all these, because there's a lot of putting together, or put the recipe into your applied energetic system. Anyways, this one will do about 520, but like I said, you do have to put the high voltage transformer on there, or it's going to blow all this stuff up. I mean, it's going to put a hole in the ground right here when this thing goes off, because these only accept 512, and this only accepts 512. So you have to downgrade the packet size as it comes out of there. Now, you'll still get the 520, but it'll break it down into smaller packet size, so it'll handle this. And you do not need a high voltage wire from here to the transformer. You can just place the transformer right up against this, and then wires out from the transformer to your MFSU. And like I said, this one is 520, and it's not too bad. I just didn't want to mess around with the transforming of power. I don't want to have to mess with that, so that's why I went down. And this is a little bit safer and uses a little less lapis, and this does 460. Not too much less, so I'm pretty good with it. Now the next one, this one is just dangerous. I'm not even kidding, because you have any issues with how long it takes them, because every once in a while this thing just does not work. For some reason, every once in a while a condensator will go in there, and generally it's at the start. If you just replace it with another one, like one of the condensators will be bugged and it just will not repair. If you replace it with another one, it'll generally fix that, but just every once in a while it won't hang, and it'll never go through, and it won't go back in. So if that happens on this one, you're going to get it you're going to have problems. You're going to definitely want some sort of system to shut the whole thing down. And the downside of that is it's harder now than it used to be to shut these things down, just because I'm using reactor heat vents, but you can use the overclocked heat vents. Now, another thing you have to do on this is you have to fill all the slots with something. So a couple of these, because when they put it back in there, it's going to go into the first open available slot. And with this one, you'll definitely want the extra cooling anyways, because if there is any error, like I said, any length of time that these are out, once this is pulled out, there is nothing else to cool that particular rod down. Not to cool the rod down, but to absorb the heat from that rod. So it's going to go, as soon as this one is pulled out, it's going right into the chamber. So as soon as this is pulled out, even as quick as this one is, you see how quick that is? It will already jump up into the still 0. That will be up into the hundreds already, and you can quickly, even with this system right here, as fast as those little dudes are, you saw it just pulled 2 out just back to back. You can get up into the thousands very quickly. When I tried it with this, I got up to 2600 very quickly. It scared the crap out of me. I'm over here trying to shut this thing off, and I don't know what happened. I couldn't get it to turn off. I ended up having to break the thing, because at the same time, I had an error over here. It pulled one out and it wouldn't go through. See, they're pretty quick. They just put it right back in there. Redstone stays supplied. So I would not suggest this one. Like I said, this one will do I believe it's 640. But it's extremely dangerous. Like I said, as soon as this pulls out, you're going to get a heat. You're going to get a lot of heat, and these systems just are not set up to pull out thousands of heat very quickly. It'll do a couple hundred pretty quick, but it's not going to pull out thousands. That's going to really hurt you, and I would definitely not, and let me stress, do not do it with this one right here, because this is too slow. This one will work with this pretty reliably. Oh, what am I doing? I think I have get to. As you can see, this one is pretty reliable. It's going to do the same thing that one over there is doing. If you want to use Buildcraft, I would not suggest going any. I would leave it at this 460 right here. If you're going to use Buildcraft pipes, I wouldn't go any higher than that. Of course, you could probably find a better way to route all this power. Probably route that underneath. The only downside is trying to route it where it doesn't connect to your MFSU. You don't want anything dropping in there, and you can't route it directly underneath without using like the sandstone pipes, but that would defeat the purpose of gold pipes of speeding the return. So I mean, I'm sure people could figure out a better way to do that. See, there it goes, and you can see how slow now. See, there's 2 out right now. Are we getting any temperature? We're still not getting any temperature though, but that is because we have a kind of a redundancy on each one. There's 2 of these condensators, so as long as this one and this one don't go out at the same time, we're okay. If both of these go out at the same time, we're going to get some pretty quick heat buildup. Now, when you want to get started and you need some empty ones, the quickest way to do this is to just pull everything out. Well, I would leave a couple of these in just in case, but just take out all these condensators except for the one you want to empty, and we're just going to place him like this. We're just going to surround him in in these quad cells. And then with a lever, which I know I've got one here somewhere. See, we've got them in there like that. And leave this here so, because once this gets to 0, you're going to want to shut this down. So you may get a little excess heat there once that gets to 9999 there at the end. So we're just going to turn it on, and all of these are going to start beating up on this one condensator. So this one condensator is sucking up all the heat from those 4 quad cells. So it's pretty quickly going to go all the way down to 0. And you're going to need, if you use this setup right here, like I said, you're going to need about 2 or 3 extra of those to kind of set everything up. Because you're going to put the one in your first golem, and then one in your recipe, and then you're going to repair that one. I guess you really only need 2 extra, because this one, once it's repaired, you can put in him in this golem down here. So you're going to place your first golem, the one that's, you're going to put the white block under or next to underneath of your first fabricator, and you're going to place the golem on the reactor. With that setting in there. So he'll know to pull from this reactor whatever he's got in it, and he's going to place it in the chest with the white marker, which is this first fabricator. The orange block will go next to or underneath your reactor. This guy will be set to orange here on the top, and he will be placed on the last fabricator, and with a full condensator placed in him. So he'll know to take those from this fabricator and put it into the reactor, so it'll just go in a circle like that. And as far as your lapis goes, whatever system you want to use to make sure that it stays full. In my survival world, I have these 3 chests underneath the fabricators. They're also surrounded in the blocks, so there's no danger of an explosion damaging anything. Just like this one here, they're all underneath, just like that. So these all pull the lapis out of there, and then I have the same thing that I have here. I have an export bus pulling lapis out, going into that inner chest, keeps it full, and then it fills these up, and of course, these up since they're all in the same color. So it's going down pretty good. So when this gets to 0, or not 0, when this gets to down there at the end where you see those numbers changing, when that gets to 9999, it's empty, and you'll want to shut this off, because if you don't, you'll see when I pull that out and we shut that off, it's at 408 very quickly, and you see those overclocked heat vents are cooling it off pretty quick. But when that gets up to 2,000-3,000, and there's a couple of these going out, you can imagine how fast the heat will go up. So if you're going to do a 0-chamber reactor like this, and even if you're going to do a multi-chamber reactor, just remember the one thing that you have to do if you're using these LZHs is that all of these slots have to be filled with something, because when it pulls this one out, it's got to go back in that slot. If you have extra chambers on here with openings, it has a chance of going in there where it's not going to do you any good. So make sure whatever reactor design you use, and you're automatically filling it with either the golems or the Buildcraft pipes, that you make sure all these slots are filled with something, even if they're not doing anything. Doesn't hurt to have an overclocked reactor vent, a heat vent, or a reactor vent, or whatever you have in there running or put in there. Even if you're looking on even if you're using the reactor planner and it's showing that it's not going to do anything to the overall design, well, it might. So always slap a component heat vent and a couple of overclock heat vents in there somewhere to take care of that heat, just in the off chance that 2 of these are out at the same time and you're getting some excessive heat on the hull of your reactor. So alright, that's pretty much what I was working on over my weekend. just trying to figure out how to do this. I wanted to get just a little more oomph, see how much oomph I could get out of a single or zero chamber reactor. I also was thinking about, I took a look at the Ultimate Pack. It's got some cool toys in there. I wish it didn't have Greg Tech, but it does. And I was thinking about either transferring my world over to the Ultimate Pack. I did a test with a copy of my world just to see what it would do, and there's no major problems. The only thing it does is it changes my current high voltage and medium voltage to the advanced solar version, which is what the ultimate hybrid reactor or solar panel for the high voltage, and then I think it's the hybrid solar panel for the medium voltage. It just changes them, so it doesn't like delete them from the world. I guess they use the same item ID, so it just changes them over. So I would have those. It also changes my bee production. Like instead of getting diamond and emerald from my diamond and emerald bees, I would get diamond dust. Things like that, little minor changes, but nothing major to the world that totally screws everything up. So that's one option. Or two, which is what I kind of played with over the weekend, was I took an old world of mine that was from the Magic Pack that came out before Direwolf, and it's not too developed. I have some buildings in there and have a lot of thermal expansion machines, but I don't have a huge power base set up. Of course, there was no IC2. I spent some time getting some rubber production going there so I could start doing some IC2 machinery, but it's very early on as far as the world goes as compared to maybe say this world. Maybe either do a separate one for the Ultimate Pack and then continue with this series, or and I was also thinking maybe just keep this series and then maybe live stream like on the weekends the Ultimate Pack. So that's just some stuff that I'm kicking around, thinking about doing. So let me know what you think. Would you like to see the Ultimate Pack on this, or would you like to continue with this one and maybe see a second series with the Ultimate Pack? So continue with the W20. So, well, let me know in your comments, and I certainly appreciate y'all coming by. I hope this episode helps you out in some way, shape, or form. Don't forget to like and/or subscribe, and tell your friends about me. So until next episode, I will see y'all later.